program.
I've heard of this.
And then you go, you follow his link, and down below this doctor has created the script. And all you do is run the script.
Okay.
And down in the toolbar, down in the lower right-hand corner, it looks like a little round circle arrow with a cursor in it. And if you right-click on it, you can then have it highlighted. So you can have a circle, and you can control the size of the circle. You can have it very small,
Okay.
or you can make it very big.
So you can a big halo around the pointer.
Yeah, and you can change, like I say, the colors of it. Also, when you go to grab something and then you go to say resize it, it also stays there for resizing it with the colors.
Nice.
Oh, one other tool that it added was this pen. It looks like a fountain pen, like you're writing.
Okay.
So if you're trying to describe things, you're going in a document and you're circling things.
Sure.
You can turn it into a pen and circle around and highlight the different things. And it's like, wow, that's cool. And then all you do is go back to there and you can turn it off. So you can turn it on and off as need be.
Nice.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's a real cool utility. I mean, he was showing, it was a 2-part video. The first part, he was showing how, you can download a lot of them and bury it into the cursor and select it. But it's usually just for that one.
Right.
So you set your arrow. And now, going around multiple screens, I lose the white cursor quite often.
Sure.
Or even if it's dark. Whereas if there's a nice little halo around it,
it's easier to find.
these eyes are.
Well, every little bit helps, right?
At my age, yeah.
I do that on my Chromebooks right now.
Well, that's why I say accessibility is really the
key.
new killer app.
Yeah.
In the olden days of the 1970s and 80s, the concept of the killer app was you bought the machine so that you could do this, right? It was like when you'd buy a drill and a drill bit because you need a hole, right? And this machine makes holes, and I need holes, so this is the killer app for holes.
Yeah.
But with a computer in the early Mac days, it was desktop publishing. You could lay out an entire magazine or a newsletter entirely on your computer and then send it to your laser printer and get really professional quality output. And my opinion is that accessibility, the ease, with which you can use equipment and maneuver with it, and even when you have different abilities than others, whether that's due to age or something else, that is really what makes a device worth having these days.
Yeah, definitely. That's because everything, we want it quicker, we want everything faster.
Right.
It's instant gratification, and if that was 5 minutes ago, well, what are you doing now?
Right. Well, and technology has spread, right? So in the last 20 years, with the advent of cellular networks, ubiquitous broadband, relatively inexpensive computing for the vast majority of people, the playing field has gotten pretty saturated. So, the number of people with a cell phone is very high. The number of people with a smartphone is very high. So there aren't a lot of unique features anymore that make people want to go and invest in technology. But with technology that can help you achieve what you're hoping to, even if your abilities are different, I really think that's where the next frontier is for technology. Right especially consumer tech.
Nick and I were talking about it last week. It's like, he had it happen to him, and I've done it to me. I had phone lines fall.
Okay.
And I connected to the house, and it's like, oh, I don't use it anymore. Yeah. Just trim them off.
Big deal.
It's something that's gone by the wayside. Nobody, for the most part nowadays,
it's uncommon,
has a house phone. It's just another added expense because you've got this other device that's right in your pocket.
Why would I want to go find the phone on the wall when I can just pick the one out of my pocket?
Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes it's easier to find that one, though.
Well, there's that, yeah. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes with Dave Enright, Dennis Worster, me, Nick Francesco, and you. It's 29 minutes after the hour. You are listening to the longest running computer show in the known universe. That's right. It's Sound Bytes right here on the Truly Great, and truly grateful to you because it is your support that lets us be truly member supported Jazz 90.1. See you on the other side. I sent you an invitation to StreamYard.
Okay, thank you.
Perfect. Nailed that one.
I didn't send you one.
No.
Oh,
You know why.
Tim Conway and Harvey Korman.
Yes.
So we were doing this. I was working in a theater in Detroit, the Gratiot Inn on Gratiot Avenue, and the biggest inn, well, one of the two biggest inns in Detroit, the hotel complex. Right, the son of the guy who owned that married the daughter of the guy who owned the other one, so that worked out nicely for them. But at any rate, we were doing our show, and afterwards we go up and have a drink in the bar. And I'm sitting at the bar, and there's this guy sitting next to me, and he is hitting on this woman so hard, I'm surprised he didn't knock an arm off her. All of a sudden, her boyfriend comes out of the bathroom. He's built like a kitchen appliance.
Of course.
So he then says, he then just quietly turns to me and says, "And what brings you here?" It's McLean Stevenson.
I don't know the name.
He was the first general, the captain or whatever he was on MASH.
Oh,
The one who dies.
yes.
Yeah. Okay. That's him, McLean Stevenson. So I said, "Oh, I'm with the theater company downstairs," and he actually got interested. He said, there's a bunch of us here for a golf tournament, and Evel Knievel's, but one of his bodyguards came yesterday to check the place out, and he saw your show. He said it's the funniest thing he's ever seen. We all wanted to go see it. This guy's got the IQ of a houseplant, but he loved it. We all wanted to come and see it, but we couldn't schedule it.
Oh my goodness.
Oh well. So he looks up and says, "Harvey, Tim." Harvey Korman, Tim Conway.
Oh,
Come over. This is Nick. He blah 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 blah, and we all talked for a while, and he then went away to hit. McLean Stevenson went away to hit on somebody else, but Korman and Conway sat with me all night long, buying drinks, laughing, having fun.
I bet.
Tim Conway is who you see him on the Carol
I
Burnett
always
show,
got that sense.
and so is Harvey Korman. Conway went over, fell over some chairs and stuff. I thought Korman was going to die, choking and laughing so hard. It was a great evening. They were terrific. They were a couple of very nice, very down to earth, very friendly men. I really liked them. Nice guys. Nice guys.
Oh man, what a story! All right, I'll be right back.
Mm-hmm. It's a nice day. Nobody's in the house.
Yeah, what? 121 online.
Oh, you've got the connector to hook the sound in here, right?
It's in the bag.
In the where?
It's in my bag. Hold on, I'll get it once we come back.
Yeah. Oh. Can you quickly run and grab his bag from on that desk there?
Yep.
It's on
Thank
the
you.
counter there. I better figure out where to plug it in.
Well, I installed my smart deadbolt.
Oh, how do you like it?
I like it a lot more than I thought I would. And I don't even have it fully set up the way I want it yet. But even just walking up to it and typing in a number is really good.
Nice.
And I can talk more about it on the air if we need to fill a little time. All right, StreamYard, you said.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Gotta use Chrome. No Safari for you.
And currently, right now, we've got a few clouds out there. 80 degrees out at the airport and 85 here. Member supported Jazz 90.1.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Nick Francesco.
I'm Dave Enright.
And I'm Dennis Worster.
And it talk to Walter from Greece, New York. Hi, Walter. What's up?
Hi there, gentlemen. Spoke to you last week, Nick, about my 32-bit Dell machine, about the different Linuxes to use.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, now that you're talking about the Chrome Flex, I'm wondering, have they tried it out on 32-bit machines?
Good question.
This I do not know, but here's where you get lucky.
Okay.
You can head over to soundbytes.org.
Yeah.
Go into the forums, right? Scroll down on the right under fascinating stuff. You'll see the forums.
Mm-hmm.
Second forum down is the poll discussion.
Right.
As I said, currently at least, the number one item under poll discussion is 16 July 22. Chrome OS Flex is now available for old PCs and Macs. And in there, I give a link to the Google page with the list of all of the checked out systems.
Yeah, the verified.
So you can go down to the Dell section, find your Dell, and see if it's listed.
Okay. Now, that just makes me wonder if it does work because, well, I've had the 32-bit machine, but I can't use the Chrome web browser because they've dropped 32-bit support, correct?
I do not know if that is equally true of Chrome OS Flex.
Yeah, because you see, I have the Chromebook tablet, and when I look at the Chrome, to update the operating system, it says 32-bit. So it's like, okay, maybe they've transformed it, or it's going to go fit on the 32-bit machine.
I'll have to look into that. I'm Googling as we speak here to see what I can learn.
Right. I don't honestly know.
Yeah. Because the part that I like, though, is that, well, I don't like Chrome web browser.
Okay.
I mean, so I've been using Firefox. I mean, it's better for me. So you're saying that if they come along and put the Play Store on there, that'd be great because then I should be able to put down Firefox down like I have on my tablet.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. Then, too, because of the USB ports, I should be able to go ahead and just get my documents, just plug it in and out using the Google Documents, and then they're not having to go ahead and really put it up in the sky. I'm a little paranoid, so I'm going to admit that I'd like to keep it on other secure sites when I do my backups.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so there's a chance then that the Dell will work, and maybe it does work on 32-bit machines.
Just remember, though,
Yeah.
if you are going to back it up to another device, back it up to a few different devices.
I have 4
I like the sound of that.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. Well, thank you very much. I'll be happy to hear if you find anything else, and I'll take an exploration on your website to find out about my machine. Thank you.
And,
Excellent. Thanks.
Yeah, that sounds great. If any other listeners have ideas about machines that they'd like to try, we could even offer to look things up for them, or we could
Right.
have them call in and tell us about something they found that was surprising that
Yeah.
they didn't expect.
Right. I've said I've got it running on a Toshiba satellite.
Yeah.
And the only weird thing is, if it works with everything works.
Is this the mouse thing?
This
you
is
told
the
me
mouse
about?
thing.
Yeah.
If I try to touch the trackpad, try to
Mhm.
move the mouse before it finishes booting,
Right.
I have no mouse,
Okay.
and I cannot get a mouse.
So you got to do hands off while
Right.
it's booting.
Hands
let
off
it
while it's
finish.
booting. Once the desktop is up, then if I move the mouse, everything is fine.
So it's got to
It's-
load that driver.
It's just this weird
Yeah.
little
Smells like a driver.
thing. It smells like a driver. But you know
Mhm.
what? As long as I'm not impatient, and the thing boots up in like 15 seconds. It's not
I don't
quite
have
as
all
fast
minute.
as that. Yeah, right. It's not quite as fast as a real Chromebook. Chromebooks use SSDs.
Yes.
And of course, this is an old 5,400 RPM drive, so it takes
Right.
actually more like 30,
couple
40
seconds
seconds.
more.
Yeah. But as long as I'm patient for less than a minute,
Can you be?
I sometimes
At your age?
when I remember to be, maybe I need to put a sticker on the trackpad that
That's
says
right.
not yet.
No, no touchy.
But yeah, so like I said, it works great. The one thing I don't have access to anymore, of course, is old computers. You probably do.
Oh, yes.
So you
How many would you like?
I'll take 1 or 2. I will.
We'll talk.
That's not a
We'll
joke.
talk.
Because
that
I'd
can be
like
arranged.
to play with this on them and
Oh,
see
I
how it
got
all
one
works.
for
How about
you,
servers?
though.
Need any servers?
Always
Okay, we'll talk.
rack mounted or
Oh, yeah.
okay.
I got an all-in-one
All in one. But your hands
Oh,
are so
those
far
are nice.
apart.
with touch screen.
Oh, that is nice.
Yeah.
You wanna try-
HP had
I'll
some
play
of
with
those.
that. I absolutely will play with that.
I'll bring it next week.
I'll play with that. See what we get.
I just don't have room.
There was
Right.
there was a point in my life
Mm-hmm.
about a year ago when I had about 15 or 20 laptops.
Yeah.
That people had given me, and I refurbished them. I fixed the ones I could. Got at that point Linux on them, and then gave them out to individuals or retirement homes like that.
Folks that could use them.
Now I would be very happy to do the same thing with old laptops by turning them into Chromebooks,
Sure.
which would be easier for everybody.
I'll bring
really.
this one in for you because one thing that I collected, and I had a nice stack of them, which I'm finding great with my Raspberry Pi 400, is the small laptop hard drives
Sure.
Oh
because
yeah.
you don't need a lot of space, and
Yeah.
it's not built for speed. It's only a 4 gig machine,
Right,
So
Right.
it's nice. I can sit there. All right, well, I got this part working. I'll set that one aside. I hook up another one.
Different project.
Start another different project. I had to put labels.
Yeah.
All the machines that I couldn't fix, I took the hard drives out and did that.
Yeah.
Reformatted them. I've got a couple of gig drives, a couple of half gig drives, and one, I think it's 20 meg drive
Sure.
that I'm probably never ever going to use or give to anybody
I
for
think you
anything.
should gut it, put a little hinge on it, and then turn it into a business card holder.
That's a great idea. Thank you.
Something like that.
One thing I
I'm
did
on that,
notice
that's
though
for sure.
on my 400 is I have an SSD drive.
Yeah.
And then once in a while, I'm hooking it up to these old slower drives.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, you even on this Raspberry Pi 400, which is only 4 gig, it's like, wow, what a difference in accessing stuff and loading it. Because I had the Pi set up so it automatically boots from a USB device. I don't go off the
Right.
the card.
Right, me too.
So it's like,
Yeah.
these older ones compared to the SSD drive. It's
Well,
like
the 400 has a 3.0 port, and if you got a 3.0 drive, it's pretty quick.
Oh yeah.
But I have on my 4, I have a terabyte drive, terabyte slow spinning hard drive.
Sure.
I don't care.
No.
I'm
It's
using
fine.
it to serve audio and video. I'm using it to do backups, both from the web and from my local machine.
Mhm.
And it doesn't have to be all that fast.
Right.
It doesn't matter if it takes an extra quarter of a second to save my database.
Oh well.
I don't care.
I've got 2 Pis. One is a Pi 3. I
Mhm.
think it's a 3B, and it is running Octoprint. So it talks
yeah.
to my 3D printer, and it gives me a lot more control. It builds in a little website where you can upload the STL files, the model files, and after you've sliced them, and it will happily keep them in a little list, and you can pick the one you want and say print, and then it will go talk to the printer and say, okay, time to warm up. Go print this, please.
Yeah.
And
What printer do you have?
I have a Monoprice Delta Mini,
Well, those are nice.
which is a little
Yeah.
one. I don't know how big to describe it as. About as big as like 2 big gallon paint cans, one on top of the other. And it has a build volume that's roughly the size of a big coffee mug. It's not huge, but
it's
for
nice for making
little
certain
stuff, for hobby things, it's great. And it's also very portable. It's got a handle on top, so you can drag it
that's
around
very
wherever you
nice.
want. So
I
that
have-
plus Octoprint makes a
Yeah.
fun little setup that is very portable. I don't waste a lot of time trying to configure and set everything up. It just I pick something, it prints, and I get on with life.
I'll tell you what, I have I have an Ender 3 clone.
Okay.
So about 8.5 by 8.5 by 8.5.
Yeah, that's what I think that'll be my next step.
I tell you what, I couldn't love it more.
It's fun.
Except now I'm just a print monkey for my wife.
Yeah.
Oh, I need this for market. Oh, I need that for market. Oh, I need this other thing for market.
Yes. She's got her magic wand and she just points it in your direction.
It's exactly how it works. Okay, I need a thing that's kind of like this. No, I don't do kind of like.
Yeah.
You gotta
Yeah,
tell
be
me
specific.
exactly
Go
what
to
you want.
Thingiverse and send me the link.
or just tell me what you want and I'll build it. I use Tinkercad.
Yes.
And I can build it. That's not a problem. I just can't do. It should sort of be something like no, we got to sit down and figure it out.
Yeah.
Show me a picture of it.
3D
then the
printers
worst
don't
part-
do sorta.
Right. Then the worst part is, that thing you printed last week? Yeah, this is yesterday, right? She's
Okay.
at market right now. And so she's theoretically at least not listening. That thing you printed for me last week? Yes. I need another one for tomorrow. Oh, okay.
Okay. Well,
I mean,
how long
it's
does
not
it take
that
to
hard,
print?
but it's a 5.5 hour print.
Right.
It was already 1:00 in the afternoon.
3D printers are not fast.
They're not fast. They are very good, but they're not fast. So I just said, okay, honey, what color?
Yes, that's right,
And-
because you've got the library of colors,
I've
right?
got a library of colors. I've got.
You've got the big Crayola box
Remind
of
me at the
filament.
break to show you my database and web program that I've written
Oh my goodness.
for all of
To
that.
keep track of this.
To keep track of everything. When I create a thing,
Right.
I put it in the database. How many
Meters of
meters it took and the weight and everything else,
all right.
and then it deducts that from the size of the spool, so I know how much I got left.
Very
and
clever.
keeps track, and I can duplicate it. So when she said make the second one, I just said what color. I said duplicate this print. This is the color.
Right.
Done.
Poof.
Poof.
Hmm.
I can put brims and
Yes.
skirts and stuff, and I can say whether it failed or didn't fail. I've had a few that failed.
Oh yes, you've had the messy bird's nest of spaghetti.
Yeah.
That's never fun to
That's
come
an
down.
offering to the spaghetti monster.
Whatever it takes.
Is what that is.
Whatever
Yeah.
it takes. We'll take all the karma we can get.
Exactly.
The the other Pi I have is running a product called Pi-hole,
Oh,
which
love
is a
Pi.
Oh, yeah.
hilarious name, but it is it's a device that keeps track of the websites that we go to, and if those websites make calls out to advertising servers, it prevents my browser from showing those ads. So it blocks those. It can also block tracking cookies and other things, but it can also speed up my web surfing because it keeps a copy of the information it finds out locally, so my computer doesn't have to wait for the rest of the internet to provide it.
This is something not a lot of sites really use enough, and they should. Your browser can say, "Hey, Sound Bytes, I was here on July 15th.
Right.
Has anything changed since then?"
Yeah.
And my site would come back and say no. And so it would just show the one it's got in memory. It's saved
It's cache.
in
Yeah.
its cache.
Yeah.
If it has changed, then it loads it. And that asking takes almost no time at all. So it's an imperceptible change. Now on a site like Sound Bytes, it changes all the time.
That's true.
I get that. But generally speaking, it doesn't. And you can often go to a site much faster because it doesn't have to load anything over the internet.
Right.
Because
But
it's got it all in cache.
As an ad blocker, it's really sped things up.
Yeah.
And you can set this up so that your phone works with it while it's in your house, or your laptops or your tablets. It's a great way to keep lots of ads from showing up. There are websites you go to where you get the website, but then your computer has to make all these calls out to where all the ads come from. And then they finally get the information, and suddenly they throw it into the layout of the website, and you can tell because the content that you were trying to read the first 3 lines of jumped 2 inches down. You have to realign your eyes and go figure out where it went.
Yep.
Or if you've got a bunch of different ads, sometimes they're all the same ad. They just show up in multiple places on the left column, on the right column, halfway in between the story that you're reading, in between paragraphs.
Yep.
This can help prevent that. So those are what the little credit card sized computers are doing in my basement. They live next to my Synology storage device, and they sit there very happily and do what they're asked.
Yep. Just
and
keep going and going and
no
going.
fans. No, they used a trickle of electricity, and
Right.
they're just a joy to have around.
3 of mine use fans.
They're little cute pets.
The
The
4s.
fours use fans. The
Yeah,
threes don't.
4s. I've got 3 4s, and they all use fans. I've got a Pi Zero that doesn't.
I've got a Pi 3B Plus, I think, that's running motion. So it's got a camera on it, so I can see who's at my front door.
Okay.
And it sits in a window, and even in the depths of summer in a room with no air conditioning, it
Where it's
barely
getting
gets above
blasted.
65
Yeah.
degrees.
Celsius, probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's pretty clever. I've just heard that the newest Pi Zeros will now have Wi-Fi.
Yes,
Yeah,
Pi,
little ones
Pi
that are
Zero
like
W.
Zero W. Yeah, and
I'm
they're
looking
about the
for
size
a
of a stick of
WH
gum.
that has a hat. And the ones I've got, I should get a hat and just have you solder it.
Yeah, I can do that.
I know. I should.
Because I've got before Goldcrest went out of business.
Oh, I miss them.
Yeah. Because on the main board there's pins,
Holes. The holes
yeah,
for the pins.
the holes for the pins. I've got the pins.
The little
You just
thing.
you just break them off as how many you need, whether you need 6 or 4. In most cases, it's just the 4. You set them in there, quick solder them, and it's easy. But he made me a deal on it because they were closing.
Yeah.
And he had strips of them, and I was doing them for a few of us were doing it for a project, and he goes, give me $1. So okay.
Sold.
Yeah. So
I've got my daughter for Christmas. It's so long I haven't been able to buy a Pi.
Yeah, I know it's been months.
Gave me a little screen.
Oh, yeah.
Is
it e-ink? Yeah.
E-ink.
Yeah.
Little e-ink screen, and I'd love to play with it.
Nexus, the one of the Nexus ones.
No, this is a different company. It's called Pi Hat, something.
Okay.
But it's just a little thing, and you connect it to a Raspberry Pi Zero, and you can put whatever you want on it.
Right.
I can't play with it because I don't have a Raspberry. Well, first I don't have a Raspberry Pi Zero, but I secondly don't have a Raspberry Pi Zero with the hat.
Yeah,
right.
The stuff. So it's a full thing across. It's all the pins. I don't know which ones are absolutely necessary.
What do you want to do with the e-ink display? Just statistics? Or?
Once you get it, it's e-ink, so it doesn't require electricity to run.
Maintain state.
So I could do, I could say, "Hi, my name is Nick," and stick it on my shirt if I want to.
Fair, good point. Okay.
Right? I mean, you can do anything with it.
I hadn't thought about that.
The next, I've got on my Pi Zero, I built a little case for it, and I've got a good size screen. I think it's like 3x5.
Yeah.
And with the Nexton screens, they wind up, you can get the code, and what it does is it's a hotspot.
Okay.
So people are on talking, because I've set up this hotspot for DMR radio, and you can see the this program that it's running are the people calling, and you can see the past 10 calls and the current call.
Okay.
And it just displays that, and it's constantly changing.
Sure.
And seeing the calls. So if you want to go back to that one person you missed it, oh, he's right there on that list. You can quick go back and call to him and that.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was simple to build, and like you say, you get one, I can solder it up for you, no problem.
Thanks.
Do that.
Yeah, we'll see. It's the things you can do. It's easier to say what you can't do with a Raspberry Pi, quite frankly. You're probably not going to run your car on it.
Oh yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong about that. Actually, now that I think of that, you're probably not going to run an entire nuclear reactor on one of them. Let's just say that much.
It probably is against the EULA, yeah.
It probably is, yeah. But
you're not allowed to run nuclear power plants. Let's see. You're not allowed anything that is involved in life support systems or air traffic control. I think
you're about right.
Those are usually the big three in the EULAs.
Although I'll bet you they use them in life support systems.
They probably.
I bet they do, because they're tiny little boxes and they take very little electricity.
Mm-hmm.
I know that a lot of people use them as displays.
Mm-hmm.
The back end for a display.
Yeah,
you just
5 volts.
Stick them on the back of a monitor.
Yes, and then now you've got electronic signage.
Right.
Yeah. No, that's a very common use.
Right.
Yeah, and they don't get hot, and they just run forever.
Right. That's exactly right. And we've used them for that. And then, of course, now it's just an electronic thing on the back of the monitor, so you can SSH into it or run a web server on it.
Yeah.
So you can go into that web server and say, show these pictures, or I'm changing the text or whatever you're doing. It's ludicrously easy. And like I said, I use one to broadcast the picture from my front door. So I can, if the doorbell rings, I can look at my phone or I can look at my computer.
Right. No, it's a very inexpensive tool for hobbyists to
play around with, and
to scratch their own itch,
Right. And motion lets you. It'll even do an alarm thing. Oh, I've detected motion. That's a problem at my house because we've got bushes and trees in the wind.
Oh,
so I had to turn that off.
Right.
Yeah, but that's the other big problem, though, is like you stated back a while ago, is just acquiring them.
Yeah,
getting these little devices, even though there's not many chips on it, and diodes and resistors. Getting the main chips is definitely a big issue, and it's very difficult to get a 4. I mean, forget it.
You have to check secondary markets, Craigslist, eBay.
Oh yeah, and then they're gouging. Well, big time.
Supply and demand.
Yeah.
It looks like Canakit has the 400s.
Okay.
But I don't see
What's
them.
what are they asking for those right now?
$100.
Okay. And they're in stock?
Yep.
Seem to be the 400s at Canakit. Yeah.
How's the keyboard on those?
I love it.
Great.
Pretty good? Okay.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
All right. That music tells us we are done with the first hour, but do not go away. We're going to have a whole lot more of Dave Enright, not nearly enough of Dennis Worster, who was kind enough to take time off from his incredibly busy life to join us for a couple of hours, while Steve Ray is one step ahead of the law somewhere in the Southwest. You'll have way too much of Nick Francesco, and we'll have more of you. So you can give us a call, 585-966-JAZZ. That's 966-5299. toll free 1-800-790-0415. And we'll be back on the other side of this break with a whole lot more Sound Bites. It's 59 minutes after the hour. Take a quick bio break, but don't forget to come back. This is member-supported Jazz 90.1. We will see you on the other side.
Online 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at soundbytes.org. More with Nick Francesco, Dave Enright, and Steve Ray next on member-supported Jazz 90.1.
WDMC Greece Rochester, a public service of the Greece Central School District, Jazz 90.1.
On Twitter at 901 Jazz.
NBC News Radio, I'm Julie Ryan. President Biden is heading home after a controversial trip to Saudi Arabia. Lisa Taylor reports.
The president met with Arab leaders in Jeddah today to discuss the growing nuclear threat from Iran and efforts to improve relations between Israel and its neighbors. Biden reassured the group the U.S. will continue to be heavily involved in the region to counter the influence from China, Russia, and Iran. He also raised the issue of human rights, saying citizens must be able to question and criticize leaders without fear of reprisal. After the meetings, the president boarded Air Force One for the flight back to Washington, D.C.
The House committee investigating the Capitol attack will hold a primetime hearing next week. The Thursday night hearing is expected to focus directly on former President Trump. Donald Trump is delaying a rally in Arizona out of respect for his ex-wife, Ivana. The former president announced online that today's rally will be postponed until July 22nd after Ivana Trump passed away suddenly on Thursday. Julie Ryan, NBC News Radio.
Possibilities are all around us. We see potential in unexpected places. And when we share our knowledge, vision, and connections, we turn great ideas into action. Together, we can make real change happen. We're Rotary. We are people of action. Get involved today at rotary.org/action.
The Greece Central School District is hiring. The district is currently looking for mechanics, custodians, buildings and grounds workers, seasonal helpers, and more. The district will be holding an open hiring event on Thursday, July 21st from 4 to 7 p.m. at the Transportation and Support Facility located at 1790 Latta Road in Greece. The district offers great pay, flexible hours, New York State retirement, and career advancement opportunities. For more information, visit greececsd.org.
Now you can explore Rochester and surrounding areas with a member card as your guide. When you make a gift of $90.10 or more, we'll send you a Jazz 90.1 member card. Then enjoy savings at hundreds of restaurants and attractions near you. So what are you waiting for? Call and become the newest member of Jazz 90.1 today. 966-5299 or online at jazz901.org.
Here's another I Love New York travel tip.
A laugh-filled celebration of all things comedy is coming to Lucille Ball's hometown of Jamestown, August 3rd through the 7th, the annual Lucille Ball Comedy Festival. Each year, the festival brings together over 15,000 comedy fans from nearly every state in the country to share laughter at dozens of venues throughout the city, including the National Comedy Center and the Lucille Ball Desi Arnaz Museum. This year's festival, headlined by comics Jeff Foxworthy and Margaret Cho, also features more than 50 live events and artists, including the Legends of SNL show, starring David Spade, Kevin Nealon, and Rob Schneider. For more information on the Lucille Ball Comedy Festival, visit the I Love New York website at iloveny.com. New York State, come be a part of it.
What grows in the forest? Trees? Sure. Know what else grows in the forest? Our imagination, our sense of wonder, and our family bonds grow too. Because when we disconnect from this and connect with this, we reconnect with each other. The forest is closer than you think. Find a forest near you and start exploring at discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the United States Forest Service and the Ad Council.
I'm a physician.
I am a nurse. I'm a nurse too, but I'm also a daughter. That's why I got the COVID-19 vaccine.
I got it because I'm a son and a husband.
I got it to protect my community. It's been proven to be extremely effective against the spread of the virus.
It's been more rigorously tested than any vaccine in history to make sure it's safe.
When we get it, we protect ourselves and our community.
It's your choice. If you have questions, find out more.
These days, it's easy to have information overload. Sometimes I just want to kick back, hear my favorite music and the news that affects me. That's why I stay tuned into my local radio station. When important news happens in my part of town, I hear it from them first. For the best entertainment, sports, news, weather, and traffic, anytime, anywhere, I stay local. Support your local stations. Text RADIO to 52886. Furnished by the NAB and this station. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop, opt out.
Welcome back to America's longest running computer show, Sound Bytes, on member-supported Jazz 90.1. Get online now. Call 966-JAZZ. That's 966-5299. Toll free 800-790-0415. Or submit your question by email at soundbytes.org. Once again, here's Nick Francesco, Dave Enright, and Steve Ray on member-supported Jazz 90.1.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Nick Francesco.
I'm Dave Enright.
And I'm still Dennis Worster.
And at 6 minutes after the hour, we are Sound Bytes. Oh, look at that. I can actually put stuff on the thing. We did have a caller, a typer.
About Revo?
In StreamYard who asked about
Revo
uninstaller.
Yeah.
And
I've heard that's a really good one for pulling files. For pulling applications and all of their associated files off of your PCs.
Right. And I said if I hit hide, it goes away again. Oh, that's very clever. So basically, the question was, does the average user really need Revo? I'd like to think I'm an average user. I don't install and uninstall software. Well, Revo is specifically designed for installing and uninstalling software. So if you never, ever add or remove anything, then yeah, you probably don't need it. But there's a lot of stuff that you might not want on your machine, particularly if it's a Windows 10 machine or 11, I suppose. Lots of bloatware comes on it. You might want to get rid of that. But for people who don't test a lot of software, add a lot of software, they only use what came on the computer, do most everything on the web or whatever. Frankly, you're just using your Windows PC as a Chromebook, but you paid more for it.
But yeah, I wouldn't sweat.
Then I wouldn't worry about Revo uninstaller.
Revo uninstall.
It's a helpful tool.
Yeah, it's a helpful tool. You can get the free version. It doesn't cost you a penny.
That's true.
You can certainly try it
Or
out.
you can then get the paid version, which does a lot more, depending, again, like Nick was saying, though, based upon your needs. If you're the type of person putting stuff on and off and updating stuff, and they tell you, all right, yeah, if you're going to update, put a fresh copy on. So go in and uninstall it. And Revo, as far as getting off that bloatware,
right,
you can sit there with a new version and select a bunch of them.
Okay.
You can select as many programs as you want and say, yep, just uninstall them all.
Yep. Now, the caveat there, of course, is you pay attention to what you're uninstalling.
Oh, yeah.
It's a loaded gun, and you could shoot yourself in the foot pretty easily. So be very careful what you uninstall. All right. Before we go to the phones, let me remind you can give us a call at 585-966-JAZZ. That's 966-5299. Toll free 1-800-790-0415, just like Jim did from Rochester, New York. What's up, Jim?
Oh, hello. I received, when I booted up my Dell laptop this morning, first time ever, I received a little box that said audio software. Please note a computer restart is needed to complete audio software installation. What is that?
The audio software is the software that runs your sound card. So the thing that lets you hear stuff, and if you have a microphone, it's the thing that grabs that sound you're speaking and sends it through the computer. So when you do an update, generally speaking, you have audio software that might get updated, and if it did, it might need to restart your computer because it needs to hook itself into the operating system. So that
I had never seen a box like that before.
well, you won't see it very often because audio software doesn't update very often.
Oh, okay. So that's legitimate.
That sounds legitimate to me. Yeah.
Okay. So when I close it down tonight and reopen tomorrow morning, is that the same as a reboot, or
Yes.
do I need it? It is.
If you actually turn the machine off.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Also, on the Revo, I am going to put that in and check it. I have Windows 10 and go through and see if there's, you mentioned bloatware. Is that recognizable?
Well, it's programs that nobody really uses, like Candy Crush.
Oh, okay.
And that stuff. Yeah, I don't, if I were running Windows, I would install Revo Uninstaller and remove all of those kinds of programs that I just don't care about.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, I should be able to detect those then.
Yeah, you should.
should
Remember,
be
if you don't know
relatively
what it
obvious.
is, don't delete it.
No. All right. I'm very cautious.
Good.
Well, thank you very much. Your show is excellent every time.
Thanks, Jim. We appreciate that.
That's not so nice to hear.
Yeah. Like I said, Revo Uninstaller is a loaded gun with a hair trigger. So be a little cautious.
Yes, don't look down the barrel.
Right. Don't look down the barrel.
Well, one thing I will say in defense of it, every time you go to uninstall stuff, it automatically makes a backup before you uninstall it.
It sounds
So
like
if
it's
you-
actually well thought out.
Oh yeah,
as a tool.
because if you do I didn't mean to do that one, you can get it back.
You can, you can.
But again,
reverse
you
it.
really kind of need to know what it is you're doing. So if you don't recognize something, it's obvious that Candy Crush is Candy Crush. It's a game.
Okay, what you need?
And if you don't need that, then you don't need that. But if you see a program whose name you don't know and don't understand, then I'm afraid you really shouldn't be deleting it. We've seen people delete their entire operating system. We've seen them delete drivers. It's really a problem. So you really need to be careful with programs like that. Know what it is you're actually deleting and why, and then that's the only time you should delete it.
Yeah, for the new users and everything, do one program at a time.
Right.
Just one program at a time, and make sure, like Nick says, like say Candy Crush, you select that, and you're uninstalling it. Don't try to do bunches of them and everything else. And I don't even know if the unpaid version even offers that.
Okay. Well, we can certainly look into that.
Yeah, I'd have to look into it because I just, again, which we've said, for decades, that if I find a product and I use it a lot,
right,
just like Super Anti-Spyware, Malware Bytes, AVG, and Revo Uninstaller, I use them. I like them. I've been using them for years. I pay for them.
Sure.
I support the people that write this stuff because then you know what? Oh, they keep updating.
Right. They'll still be there next time you need something.
And and I find that so helpful for if I need support, like one of those different programs I used, and I found it very useful. And it's out there for free, and it's a logging program. But I figured, oh, heck, this guy put a heck of a lot of time and effort in it. I know what that's like.
Yeah.
So I sent him, a few bucks. He comes back, oh, thank you very much. Well, then I had a question about a month later.
Mm-hmm.
Bam, he got right back to me. And I was surprised. I figured, maybe I hear from him by the end of the week.
Right.
It was a few hours later. He goes, oh, yeah, here's what you want to do in that. If you got any other questions, just let me know. Okay, that's great.
Right.
But,
and oftentimes these tools are not that expensive, too.
You're not talking hundreds of bucks.
No, the tools that I look at, I see the webpage, I hear about it, I go check it out, and I usually have a number in my head. Oh, geez, what's this going to be? $80, $90, $120. And I can scroll down to where the price is, and it's like, no, it's $22. Like,
well, Revo.
Okay.
I've paid more for pizza.
That's right.
Revo Uninstaller had a 2-year special, and I think it was $30.
Wow.
It's $15 a year.
Right.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. You
It's
can
like,
afford
hello.
that.
And constantly, if I'm running the program, once you start Revo up, it's, oh, wait a minute. We've got an update. Do you want to do this before you uninstall it? Oh, okay. Boom. You just click the update button. It shuts the program down, downloads the update, installs it, and starts it right back up. So it puts you right back to where you were. It's like, oh,
very clever.
Very
And if you've
professional.
ever had to write software and deal with all of the exceptions and the details, $22 or $30 starts to look really cheap.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, but I do not understand the attitude of people who will not pay for software.
Yeah,
I mean, I get it if you can't afford to pay for software.
That's one thing.
That's one thing. That's different.
And that's legitimate.
Right. But these, I know some people who absolutely would not part with a penny with a gun to their heads. Very gun oriented this week. But
is everything okay at home, Nick?
Yeah.
You sleeping well?
Yeah, I'm sleeping.
Doing all right. Okay.
But there's so I believe in pay. I had the same experience. I sent a guy some money. He wasn't asking for money.
Right.
I wrote to him and I said, I need your PayPal. I'm going to send you money because I love this program. He said, unnecessary. I said, I don't care.
Tough.
Send me your PayPal. And he did. And I paid him. And about a month later, I had a question about the product. And I wrote to him and he said, and I said, I don't understand how this works. I would have thought it did this.
But instead, I got this other thing.
But instead, I got this other thing. And he wrote back to me and he said, it makes sense to me. I'm adding that function. I'm renaming this function. You were absolutely right. I wasn't paying a lot of attention. I wrote back and I said, that wasn't really necessary. I said, anything for my supporters.
Hey.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
it doesn't take much to make somebody's day when you're slaving over the keyboard trying to make really a piece of intellectual art.
Right.
You're really supporting an intellectual artist.
Well, one thing, one other piece of software I use, and it's a big company. It's called Ham Radio Deluxe.
Okay.
And it's a software program that you download and you pay for it. They give it to you for free. You can try it out for a while, but then you got, 30-day trial. It gives you full function, but then you got to pay for it. Well, after you've got it, and the membership runs out after a year, the program still works.
Right.
But they offer, renewing memberships for updates and everything else. So I've been updating it now for a few years. And they had a new version come out and it didn't, literally locked up machines.
Right.
So I got on there, created what they call a trouble ticket. And I go, I'm a little baffled. I says, here you've got a new version coming down, and it's the only version you're offering for downloading. You don't give me the option to go back to the previous version that was working. And I got a guy texting me back and he goes, email me, we didn't think about that.
Right.
But that's a very good point. So now when you go to the program to do the download, they've got the current version, but just in case it doesn't work, they now added, here's the previous working version.
The stable release.
And they sent me this letter thanking me very much. It was something that was very obvious and they didn't think about it. And I said, well, no problem.
Everybody's human, right?
Yeah, and it's like, so now they got it in there and, everybody, there was a lot of folks that were getting upset because they downloaded the greatest one because they always tell you got to uninstall and reinstall the new one. So we did that. And then it was working. So they quick put that up there and then boom, it saved a lot of tickets. And a lot of people were happy that they could at least go back to the previous version that was working.
Yeah. Right. Give them a place to go and you won't have as many angry tickets waiting for you.
Yeah. And
a support person.
It's
better
just
for everybody.
It's just that extra support that, you're not talking a ton of money. I think it cost me, I think it was like $25 again for, a year subscription.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But they're giving you updates and, this is just one or two. I mean, just since this is July, I think they've done like 8 different updates and enhancements to the program.
Amazing.
And it's like, yeah, it's well worth the support, because if you don't pay for the support, you're stuck in the older version.
Right.
You don't get the updates.
Right.
So to me, it's well worth it.
Worth it. Now I'll give you the other side of the coin, though.
Yeah.
There's a program that I use irregularly. If I boot it up twice a month, that's a lot.
Okay.
Right.
Yep.
And it does some stuff. It doesn't do anything other programs don't do. It just sometimes it's more convenient to do them in that.
Right.
But I was looking at it. It's a free program, absolutely free.
Okay.
And I thought, you know what? I should see if there's a subscription. But I'll be
An
happy
option for that,
to get it. So I went to look at it. The subscription is $99 a year.
Yeesh.
No, that I don't use it enough, and I don't need any of the extra features.
Right.
Now, if I were using it in a business environment, which is really what it's designed for, then absolutely it would be worth it, because I saw the things it does.
Right.
And back when I was working, I could have used every single one of those.
Right.
And $99 is cheap for what it does.
Well, yeah, and you could turn that $99 investment into more productivity.
Exactly
or other
right. And it would have been
profits.
fine. But for me as a home user,
You need a different.
I
need a
didn't-
different plan.
I needed a different plan. I would have happily sent them 30 or even $40, but not 99.
Right.
Well, it's just like I looked at Foxit. I like
Yeah.
Foxit for doing PDFs.
It's the PDF writer and reader.
And they wanted me to look at the Premiere version and all that, because then you could design forms. And that,
Okay.
and there's a couple of forms. Yeah, it'd be nice to have that you could set up this for setting it to automatically do this and this. And I was looking at what they wanted for the full version program, so I could create forms and everything else.
Yeah.
I go over there and I'm thinking, if it's under $100, $195.
Yeah.
Oh no, I don't create that many forms.
Right.
Well,
Again, if
but
you're
that-
a business,
But
Yeah.
that is still cheaper than what Adobe would charge you
Yes.
for their product. So,
Yeah,
you
but-
know, that market is the price is
well, then,
a little higher.
there's, I just looked up Linux PDF editor, and there's 11 free ones.
Sure. Do those let you make the forms?
That would be a PDF writer. I
Yeah,
believe.
usually that's the bigger, deeper set of features and functions.
Yeah. Yeah, there are some for those. So yeah, there's all kinds of stuff out there.
But yeah, that's what I was trying to find, though, is something else that I could create forms.
Right.
It's because I was creating this one form, and again, I have it tabbing across, so you click on the first one, and you can quick put in a date, and it puts in the slashes.
Okay.
So you put in and then it grabs the time off the
clock.
and then boom, a drop down menu that you could select things and fill it out as you go along, and then boom, go to the next field.
Yeah.
And lock this thing.
Right, right.
It's like, for the few forms that I'll create, maybe what, 2 or 3 a year?
$100 might be a little steep for that.
Yeah, a couple $100 just to create a couple. I was like, yeah, no. So I just got to find some other, because I'm cheap that way.
Well, or find somebody else who's already got it and they do it as a business, and maybe they'll charge you by the form.
Well,
right.
A lot of them I just created spreadsheets.
Yeah,
just
true.
do a spreadsheet.
Google Sheets will let you make a form.
Yeah, and I did that up one morning because the guy was complaining. He saw this spreadsheet and he wanted to be able to fill it out. And I go, that's not that hard looking. So like boom, 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 quick created it. It was for this one contest,
right?
13 colonies. And I quick threw it together and put it together and boom.
Well, we've got big news at my house. I spent the money and installed a smart deadbolt.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I have been researching and researching and reseing. I
If
know
it's
we talked
dead, how
about it on
smart
the
can it
show.
be?
Say again.
If it's dead, how smart can it be? Never mind. Go ahead.
You'll see. You'll see.
Dying to find
Okay.
out.
So I did a bunch of research, and there's, as you might expect, I'm kind of an Apple household. So Apple's got this set of protocols called HomeKit, and
Right.
that let everything talk to everything else. And Apple, I'll give them grief when they earn it, but they seem to be doing a very good job at security right now.
That's good.
A new niche.
Because a lot of these home.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're like Swiss cheese security wise. So the one I chose was made by Kwikset. It was the premise line, and it has this display on the front where it displays like a keypad. It doesn't have physical buttons. It has a touch display, so you can wipe it down if it gets dirty, or you can. It's weather resistant and all that jazz. So it's very convenient. You walk up to it. You either cover it with your palm or you touch it in 3 places at once, and the screen lights up. The first thing it does, which I thought was the most clever, is it shows you 2 numbers, and you have to tap both the numbers, and then you enter in your code, and it will unlock the door. But the 2 numbers that it shows you at first are randomized, because then you put fingerprints on all the different places where the numbers are. So if somebody tries to take a look at where you've been typing all your numbers, trying to pick up or figure out what your code is, the fingerprints are everywhere, so they can't. That they're thwarted. And I said that is such a clever way to do that and solve that problem. But it's been 100% reliable. It is unlocked and locked every time I've asked it to. It still has a keyway, so I can use my keys even if the batteries are down. I think it takes 4 AA's on the inside of the house, and I've been completely happy with it so far. My kids, who I thought would be a little against it, seem to like it. It seems to work. On the inside, you still get the thumb lever, so you flip that the same way you would normally. So it doesn't get in the way of anybody who wants to treat it like a normal deadbolt, which was very high on my list of things that I wanted. But the feature that I'm looking to do that I haven't done yet is proximity unlock. So when my phone gets within a certain distance and
automatically unlocks it,
the phone detects it. As I walk in with 2 armloads of groceries, it should automatically unlock.
That would be handy.
That's the part I'm looking to do next.
Nice.
So it's been a little adventure at my house, but you can also set up temporary codes. So if you've got a person coming to get your dog to take them for a walk, they can have their own code. You can have that code expire in 2 hours. You can have that code expire in a week. You can pick how long that's valid for, because
and I'm assuming there's a log somewhere.
Yes, there's an online log. There's an app as well. You can get notified. This is optional. You can get notified every time it locks and unlocks.
Nice.
And if you give a different code to each person and you assign the name, it'll say, Susie unlocked the deadbolt today at 2:42 p.m. You can get lots and lots of details. But again, it's all optional. You could completely take the batteries out if you want, and it would still behave just like a typical lock. So that was the big adventure for the summertime at the Worcester household.
Nice.
Cool.
Sounds great.
Well, it's handy. That's the big thing, though, is these home security systems. More and more of them, are becoming available to folks, and they're setting them up.
Yeah, the prices are coming down.
Yeah, big time.
And it's a one-time, it's not the cheapest way to go, but it is a one-time expense. There's no subscription involved.
Yeah.
Right. So, the only problem I have is a lot of people don't understand you have to pay real attention to the security.
Yes.
There are way too many cheap, unsecured systems out there.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
No doubt about that. Yeah. That was the first thing that I was looking at.
You can't get a fly-by-night thing.
Have you frozen?
I think I've got to make sure my Chrome is running.
There it is.
My computer went to
Now
sleep.
it's working. There you go.
My
well, like anything else, if you buy cheap, you're going to get cheap.
That's right.
It's and the quality, in the things, you think, well, I paid that doesn't mean you're going to get the top of quality and the best, say, imagery or anything else.
Yep. Do your research.
Yeah, you got to do your homework. Like anything else we talk about, when you're going to even pick out a computer, we have always told you, figure out what you need and then go from there. If graphics is a big thing, all right, then maybe you want to go with a higher end graphics card. If you're into photos and taking thousands of those, maybe bigger storage. You got to assess your needs and what you're going to be doing.
That's exactly right. And not enough people really pay attention to the whole idea of security.
That's true.
We need them to do a lot more of that before I'm comfortable with putting all that stuff in my house. All right. We're going to take a quick break. Back in just a couple of minutes with Dave Enright, Dennis Worster, me, Nick Francesco, and you. It is 29 minutes after the hour. You're listening to the longest running computer show in the known universe. It's Sound Bytes right here on member-supported Jazz 90.1. We will see you on the other side.
It's America's longest running computer show. Back to more Sound Bites with Nick, Dave, and Steve. Next on member-supported Jazz 90.1.
NBC News Radio, I'm Julie Ryan. President Biden wrapped up his trip to the Middle East by taking part in a summit meeting with Arab leaders in Saudi Arabia. He reassured the group the U.S. will continue to be heavily involved in the region to counter the influence from China, Russia, and Iran. President Biden is backing a scaled-down economic bill after a key Democratic senator objected to a larger bill with climate provisions. In a statement, Biden said he now supports a bill aimed at lowering prescription drug prices. The bill was supposed to be paired with Democratic spending to fight climate change. Opening statements will get underway next week in the penalty phase for the Parkland, Florida school shooter. Rick Hoschel has more.
Prosecutors will lay out their case against Nicholas Cruz starting Monday. Throughout the trial, jurors will see graphic evidence and tour Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School, where Cruz admitted to killing 17 people back in 2018. The process is expected to last 4 months.
Julie Ryan, NBC News Radio.
If you suffer from a runny nose, stuffed up sinuses, and itchy or watery eyes, the culprit may be hiding under your shrubs, next to your flowers, or along a nearby roadway. Hi, I'm Melinda Myers, horticulturist and gardening expert. Ragweed is the main cause of allergy and pollen asthma in North America and Central Europe. Common ragweed is an annual with ferny leaves that flowers in August and September. Giant ragweed has larger, less dissected leaves and can reach heights of 8 feet. Mowing and removal not only eliminates the pollen, but also the 30,000 to 62,000 seeds that each plant can produce. Removing one plant means thousands less to weed next season. Keep your lawn mowed, gardens weeded and mulched, and replant ragweed-infested areas with native and ornamental plants suited to the growing conditions. Proper selection and soil preparation will help your desirable plants crowd out this weed. Check out our website for this and other gardening tips. Jazz 90.1 is supported in part by Summit Responsible Solutions, a manufacturer of organic, all-natural mosquito control products under the Mosquito Dunks brand name. Mosquito Dunks can be used in ponds, bird baths, rain barrels, or wherever water collects. Non-toxic to people, pets, fish, birds, and other wildlife, Mosquito Dunks are available at local and national garden centers everywhere. Information on how to control mosquitoes can be found at summitresponsiblesolutions.com.
The Greece Central School District is hiring. The district is currently looking for mechanics, custodians, buildings and grounds workers, seasonal helpers, and more. The district will be holding an open hiring event on Thursday, July 21st from 4 to 7 p.m. at the Transportation and Support Facility located at 1790 Latta Road in Greece. The district offers great pay, flexible hours, New York State retirement, and career advancement opportunities. For more information, visit greececsd.org.
Jazz 90.1 is supported in part by our members and by animal repellent Plant Skid. It's organic and safe for use on fruits and vegetable gardens, as well as trees, shrubs, and flowers. Plant Skid uses odors associated with predators, encouraging animals like deer, rabbits, bulls, elk, moose, chipmunks, and squirrels to dine elsewhere. Information on how to protect plants from animal damage can be found at plantskydd.com. That's plantskid.com.
Home. It's the place where we go to feel secure, safe, and loved. But for thousands of youth living on the streets, there's no such thing as home. Out here, it's a predatory world that can destroy lives forever. At Covenant House, we give at-risk youth a place to go where they feel safe, supported, and people care about their future. A place to call home. To help or get help, go to safeplacetosleep.org.
And now, a check of your Jazz 90.1 weather forecast.
Some of the finest summer weather imaginable in store for all of Rochester, Western New York, and the Finger Lakes for the day today, with an ample amount of sunshine, a little bit of a lake breeze developing into the afternoon. It's going to be very dry and very warm, the high temperature into the middle and in some cases upper 80s. Tonight brings patchy clouds and starlight, the overnight low temperature in the mid-60s. Touch more muggy for the day on Sunday with intervals of clouds and sunshine. An isolated shower, thunder shower into the night, the high temperature in the upper 80s. I'm meteorologist Josh Nichols for Jazz 90.1.
And currently, right now, we've got clear skies, 81 degrees out at the airport and 84 here at member-supported Jazz 90.1.
Hi, this is Phil Dodd. Please join me weekday afternoons from 1 to 4 right here on member-supported Jazz 90.1.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Nick Francesco.
I'm Dave Enright.
And I'm Dennis Worster.
And at 35 minutes after the hour, we are Sound Bytes, and we have Christine from Brighton, New York on the line. What's up, Christine?
Yes. Hi, guys.
Hello.
So I used to have Kaspersky on my laptop, and based on recommendations I've heard here, I've been to the Tango, and I instead of re-upping on Kaspersky, I went with the one that you suggested, starts with a B, the antivirus and the malware bytes and all that stuff. Okay,
Sure.
So that's been working fine. So my dad, who's 86 and just uses a computer just for email and looking up some things, getting something off of Amazon, I had Kaspersky for his laptop. And then for some reason, he lives in Florida, I'm up here. So for some reason, somebody down there who helped him with the computer took Kaspersky off, and so he doesn't have an antivirus. So when I got the notice to renew Kaspersky, I said, okay, let me do that, forgetting that he didn't have it on his computer. Anyways, long story short, I was able to use TeamViewer to get onto his computer and look and see what's going on from up here.
Nice.
And I said, okay, Dad, you need to get Kaspersky. I have it. I'm paying for it. You might as well put it on. You need something. So he had malware bytes. I'm sure the guy, whoever was helping him, probably had that on, but it wasn't active. And when I went to install Kaspersky, it said it's incompatible with malware bytes. So, Bitdefender, that was the one I got.
Right.
So, right. So my question is that accurate, that malware bytes won't work with Kaspersky?
Well, yes and no.
Yeah.
If both of them are running full time, they will interfere with each other.
Okay.
And so that's bad. So again, maybe Bitdefender would be a better choice. Or you can run malware bytes. Did he pay for malware bytes?
I don't know, but it didn't seem to be active. So I just uninstalled it.
There you go. I was just going to say, if he's not using it full time, uninstall it and put, you're paying for Kaspersky anyway, put Kaspersky on his machine.
Yeah, I did that.
Yeah.
But I just thought it was kind of weird that I know malware bytes works with Bitdefender, but then that it wouldn't with Kaspersky, and I wanted to make sure with you all, because you know much more than I do about this, was that the right way to go? So
you did the right thing.
Yeah.
Well done, you.
Yes. Very good.
Thank you. I have to say my dad is not patient, and but we made it through, and I haven't gotten any phone calls, so I guess it's working.
That's the key.
Yes, you're a good daughter.
Yes, thank you. So my next question is there something more I should do for his computer other than it's Kaspersky Internet Security?
No.
Like,
I think you're good.
Okay.
No, he's good to go.
Good.
Let him just enjoy it.
Excellent. I appreciate it. Love all your advice, and we'll continue to listen and support you.
Thank you very much.
Christine.
We
We love to
appreciate
hear that. Thank you.
That's so nice.
Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
Goodbye. Well, that was really nice.
That was very nice. That was very sweet.
It's nice that she's helping take care of Dad.
Exactly
As a dad
right.
myself with daughters, I hope that I'll earn that same.
Yeah, my daughter
same
continues
ability.
to remind me she will pick my nursing home.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I have
Well,
to be nice to her.
And she knows where the brake pedal is too. So
That's it. She certainly knows that. God bless her.
She's taking care of you, and you didn't even know it.
And I didn't even know it. Yeah, exactly.
At the very moment when you needed it most.
Exactly. All right, back to the phones. Our next caller is Walter from Greece again. What's up, Walter?
Welcome back.
Forgive me, Father. I was on the computer while I was listening to your show at the same time.
It happens.
Yep. Okay. Well, the reason I'm calling is that I did go to your website, and then I went over to support at Google and found that it's only compatible with 64-bit machines. And basically, if its machine was made before 2010, well, forget it. It probably will give you a very poor experience.
Yeah. No, that would not surprise me. Okay, so you've got 12 years worth of equipment that you can pick from. But,
right.
32-bit, no go.
Yeah, and even it's very interesting when you look at the list on some of the Dells, the support ends next year because they were already cloud ready before, apparently, and that's it. They're not giving any support. And as you said, 12 years, well, you had your fun run.
Right. Well,
Okay.
yeah, it's not
Well, now we
magic.
know.
You know, the thing you got to remember is it's not magic.
Right.
You can find versions of Linux for 32-bit systems that will run on anything.
Yeah.
Google clearly not interested in supporting those, but Linux is a much more open source community, and there are people who still want to support 32-bit. And as long as there are, then you will be able to run 32-bit software.
Right, and indeed, I took a look further, and Google ended its Chrome support for 32-bit Linux is back in 2019. So,
Right.
you know, that's it. But yeah, I'll keep searching because I asked you last week about Raspberry Pi for 32-bit machines, and the poor thing thought I was actually on a Raspberry Pi, said I made up an account, and then told me to reboot. And I'm running it off the disk, and and it's like, well, okay, if I reboot, I'm starting from scratch all over again.
Right.
And PsychOS was just too much. I cannot believe just what that guy threw on to that desktop. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
So, and I also then tried Refracta. It looked very interesting, but it stalled. I tried several downloads, repeat, burning, and didn't go anywhere. So I'll just keep. I may just be sticking with Q4 OS. So.
That sounds like a plan.
All right. Well, thank you again for your time. I appreciate it. Great program as always. Thank you.
All right. Thanks.
Thanks for calling back with that answer.
Yep. Yeah. Finding a good 32-bit Linux. There are some. I mean, I think a version, there's a 32-bit version of Ubuntu. I think.
Okay.
If I could type, I would be able to know that better.
Oh, you're getting older.
Ain't that the truth? Debian, Bodhi, Alpine, OpenSUSE, Porteus. I've used Debian, love Debian. I've used
Debian.
OpenSUSE. I was thinking back the other day, I was talking to somebody. The very first Linux I ever used was Yggdrasil, whatever. It's the name of the world tree in Norse mythology.
Oh.
And it was one of the very first bootable Linuxes.
Okay.
From
like what,
Linus
93?
Torvalds,
Yeah.
93, came out with Linux,
Right.
or as he pronounces it, Linux. And the folks at Yggdrasil put out it was $60, but I was very excited by it, so I bought it, installed it on a machine. Didn't do much.
Yeah.
Did it all in the text mode, but it did it on the console, and it was great. I used it for a while. We were just talking about early Linuxi, and how there were only a few. You could have Yggdrasil, you could have Slackware.
Oh yeah.
There were like maybe three or four, and then now today you go
So
to
many different flavors.
distrowatch.com and you can't get through the list in a day.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a
yeah.
lot of people prefer an unencumbered operating system, as they say. And so, they don't want to use Linux. They don't want to use Chrome. although Chrome is Linux based.
Yeah.
They don't want to use Microsoft. They don't want to use Chrome. They don't want to use Mac, although that is Mac based. So, they've migrated to Linux. There are versions of Linux that are encumbered by proprietary software. Ubuntu is one of them. You can elect not to use most of that stuff, but not all of it. But much of Debian is still unencumbered.
The library is unbelievable.
Well, that's the big thing. When you've got 150,000 programs you can download for free, why would you not?
And yeah, I mean, it just covers the gambit of anything and everything that you want to do. And if it's not there, quite often you can go to, say, that particular software person and say, well, do you have a Linux version? Because nowadays, a lot of them are doing both Windows, Mac, and Linux, because they're seeing a lot of folks want to get away from Windows.
Right.
And, quite often, the Linux machines take less horsepower and resources to run than the PC does. Because Windows is a memory hog, and they make no qualms about that. They tell you right up front, well, you need this much memory in that. Whereas Linux will sit there, oh, no, we can run plenty faster on.
I mean, take a look at things like Puppy Linux and Damn Small Linux. They run on nothing machines nowadays. But there are, and again, there are a lot of 32-bit version systems, Q4 OS, as Walter said, Slacks, Ubuntu Mate, Zorin OS Lite, Xubuntu has a 32-bit version. I use the 64-bit version on all my machines. Linux Mint, XFCE has a 32-bit
Oh, that's
version.
very Windows-like too.
Very Windows-like. Peppermint Linux, Ubuntu. I mean, there's lots of 32-bit Linuxes. And again, most of them have no proprietary software at all. So you can be very sure that what you're running is unencumbered by anything. I mean, we all know Microsoft, Google, Apple track people, know what they're doing, sell that information to advertisers at least, if not other manufacturers. Apple fills up your machine with bloatware like mad. And I get that. But you can buy, you can get for free operating systems don't do any of that.
But the key thing, though, that I have to add to that, though, is you also have to be the type of person that is willing to spend some time. You're going to get frustrated at times because installing these operating systems, it can be a challenge, and learning something different. Because if you've been using, say, Windows for the past 20 years, then all of a sudden go to a Linux operating system, be prepared to spend quite a bit of time. Like I say, you're going to get frustrated, but it can also be a lot of fun in the stuff that you can do with it. And the big key that I can't stress enough is if you're thinking of doing something, check out the YouTube videos.
Yeah.
Right.
The YouTube videos will help cover a lot of stuff, walk you through stuff, and teach you a lot. So take but that's the thing. You got to put the time in to get the effort out.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
It rewards your curiosity more than anything else.
Oh, it's a lot of fun.
But if you don't want to bring curiosity to it, then it's going to be more frustration.
Oh, definitely. Because, like I say, folks get intimidated. Well, you got to go to a terminal window. What's a terminal window? They've not seen it because back in the,
back in the day, that's all you had, but
that's
nobody sees them anymore.
Yeah, we don't.
Uncle Larry had something that was terminal. Turned out he died 3 days later.
Yeah. Or DOS window, that's what a lot of folks equated to is the DOS window. Right. And you had to do write batch files and everything else. Well, in Linux, you open up a terminal and you can run commands. You got to learn different commands. But it's not something that, is totally.
But with the new versions of Linux, you don't ever have to go to the command line.
A lot of it, it's there.
it's convenient, it's easy, it's faster, but you don't have to do it.
Yeah.
No, I get that.
Yeah, it's just a lot of. It's fun if you want to play around with an old machine and do learn something new, because like I say, the way Windows is slowly turning things around, higher demand for higher end machines, which right now it's getting pretty hard to even find those because of the chip shortage.
Sure.
And the prices are going up and up and up, and you don't want to keep paying for this software, because eventually that's where Windows is going to go. It will be, if not this year or next, it's going to be a paid subscription.
They've already told their shareholders that's where it's going.
Yeah.
And you do not lie to the shareholders. So,
And
yeah.
that's the direction it's going to go. So, that's why we encourage you folks, either check out Chrome or, Linux.
Or Chrome OS. Yeah, Chromebook or Chrome OS Flex. If you buy a Chromebook, setting it up is as easy as opening it up and putting in your Gmail information.
Yep. Put in your Gmail address and the password with it, and
you're done.
Everything else happens.
Yep. If you're looking for the easiest computer to use, it's a Chromebook.
Oh, yes.
There is no question of that.
Very little thought.
And it will do everything most people want to do. Beyond that, there are people who stick with Windows because they've always stuck with Windows.
That's all they know.
I mean, I get that. I do. It's like people who've never bought anything but a Ford. Right? I mean, or Chevy or whatever.
If that's your thing.
If that's your thing, that's your thing. And I'm not going to talk against it because that's your thing. But for people who are looking for something easier,
something different,
if you can go to a Chromebook. If you're looking for something different, you can also look at Linux. If you're looking for something different and free, you go to something like Linux. If you're looking for something different and to pay for, then you go to a Mac or whatever. But if you've got an old machine, I really wish I could put a Mac OS on an old machine, but it would be an Intel machine, and they don't even do that anymore.
Yeah, no, the Hackintosh community,
Right?
Yeah, it's
always
been super fringe,
right? You can get Linux front ends that look like a Mac,
sure.
So that's nice.
Yeah.
But that's that there's nothing unique or magical about the Linux, about the Macintosh or Windows GUIs. There are Linux GUIs that absolutely mimic them, 100%, including the color schemes and the buttons on the left instead of the right, and everything. So that's personal preference. But what's underneath can be something you pay for, something that's free. It's really that simple. And if it's free, maybe it takes you a little bit of time and effort to really learn to deal with correctly. But the fact is,
it's there.
It's free.
And it's there for you.
And it's there for you. And you can very easily run those machines regularly. If when I get an old machine to set up for somebody, I will either put now, of course, I'll probably put Flex on it, Chrome OS Flex on it, because that's simple and easy and all of that. But I used to put a version of Linux on it, and then if they were originally Mac people, I put a version. I put a front end that looked like a Mac. If they were Windows people, I put a front end that looked like Windows. It's not that hard.
But one other great thing about Linux is, unlike Windows, that if it needs updates, Windows, you could wait months, maybe even a year, and they'll finally get around to patch things. In the Linux world, it's done right away, and updates can happen behind the scenes that you don't even have to worry about.
Right.
It'll just do them, and on it goes. It's
every once in a while you get a thing that says you got to reboot.
Yeah.
But generally, again, as we said to one of our callers, you can just shut down at the end of the day, and the next time you open it up, start it up,
boom, there you go.
You got the new stuff. my home system, which is on 24/7, updates something just about every day. None of it interrupts me unless there's a whole new version of the operating system.
Yep.
And that's fairly rare. So, it's constantly updating. It's constantly being refreshed. It's constantly running the latest and greatest and most protected and most secure. So, for that reason alone, I absolutely love it. I get how easy it is to go up to the Mac and say about this Mac and check for updates and, fine. I get that. I don't even have to do that much.
Yeah.
It just happens. Magic happens.
But like I said, though, and there's a community out there that's always looking to update and improve. If something is broken, you're not waiting weeks and months. It's usually days, if that.
Yeah. And
patch will be out there to
right.
correct this or that was broken. Well, we got it fixed. There's a whole community that's around that, and that's unbelievable.
Yep. We've often seen serious patches that take, Microsoft only updates on Patch Tuesday.
If we're lucky.
Rarely outside Patch
once
Tuesday.
a month, yeah.
So that's once a month. I have seen notice that there was a problem in a program and the Linux version was fixed the next day. It doesn't get any faster than that. There's still got to be time to write it and test it and all of that stuff, and it takes them a day.
Yep.
You can't beat that. So we're very pleased with the Linux community. They're hardworking folks, and a lot of them. You say, well, they're volunteer. Not all of them. Canonical pays people. Microsoft pays Linux people to write Linux code. Couple of companies, a lot of companies do. Red Hat does. So a lot of those companies are paying programmers to write stuff, because while you can use it for free, it's like that program I was just saying. I wasn't going to pay $99 for it because all of the additional features are really business features that I don't need.
Right.
And the same is true of, you can use a version of Ubuntu absolutely free. But if you're a company, you can pay for support and security from Canonical. That's how they make their money. So they can afford to hire programmers to keep the software up to date. And that software is just as available to the home user as it is to the business user. So it's not just a bunch of wild-eyed neckbeards sitting in their home, in their mother's basements, writing code while they eat Cheetos. Often it's a bunch of neckbeards sitting in an office somewhere being paid to write code while they eat Cheetos. So yeah, it's all doable and it's all good. And if you've got an old machine sitting around running something like Chrome OS Flex on it, is probably something that would be an easy upgrade to a machine that's just sitting around utterly unusable right now anyway. With Macs, you can still now, with an old Mac sitting in a closet, you can't update it anymore.
Yep.
Just like you can't update an old Windows system anymore.
Sure.
A lot of them. But you can put Chrome OS Flex on both of those now, depending on the model and how old and blah, 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 blah. I get it. Or you can take an old Mac and put Linux on it.
True.
There are Linux versions for those. So you don't have to, old machines don't die. What?
There's a lot of flexibility out there.
Yep. All right, that's it. We are done for another week. I want to thank Dave Enright once again. Thanks to Dennis Worster. He's always a joy to have here. We love having him come, and he takes time out from his very busy life to give us the benefit of his wisdom and expertise and the nonsense that he spouts. I'm Nick Francesco. Thanks for listening. We'll be back next week with a whole lot more of the longest running computer show in the known universe. That's Sound Bytes right here on the Truly Great, and truly grateful to you that we continue to be member supported. Jazz 90.1. See you in 166 hours.
Here's another I Love New York travel tip.
A laugh-filled celebration of all things comedy is coming to Lucille Ball's hometown of Jamestown, August 3rd through the 7th.
The annual Lucille Ball